Welcome back for another fundamental file management command. Let's have a look at the od command. So the command will be od, and normally the argument you'll be giving it is od with a file name. And what it's short for is octal dump. Now what will happen when you do an octal dump is it'll show you the file contents in an octal format, or other formats like hexadecimal if you play around with some of the options. This is very popular with developers and senior system administrators, especially if they're looking for particular data in non-text files, or they're trying to find non-standard characters. To give you an example of a non-standard character, you can either have a semicolon, or if you play around with Unicode symbols, the Greek question mark symbol looks very similar to a semicolon. And if you go and mess around with a developer, you can do a find and replace in their source code, replacing all semicolons with the Greek question mark character, and they will get compilation errors like you cannot believe. Don't ask me how I know this, but believe me, if the developer that I did this to is watching, I'm pretty sure there'll be a comment. So let's check out what some of the options look like. You get -a space x to set for hexadecimal formatting. You get -tx to do the data instead of the line addresses in hexadecimal formatting, -tz to do literal character output, and -v to show verbose data, where it'll show you all lines, including repeating ones. Usually if you have a repeating line, there will be an asterisk afterwards. Let me show you this command in action though, it'll be more fun that way. So first up, let's cd into the demos directory, and I've got an od demo subdirectory in there. And we've got a PNG file. Now if we try and cat a PNG file, that's what Linux will try and do. Now if you're thinking, what on earth is that? Well, that's what happens when you try and ask Linux to show you a picture in the command line. It doesn't work so well. That's the picture. My logo. So let's clear this messy screen and see what od can show me. So first let's do an od of the file name. And here's our octal dump. Line by line. So the first number, that is the line address of the octal values, and that's the octal values for that line. So the first little bit there is just an address line. The rest of that though is actual data. And that is trying to express the graphical information in a way that at least we can have a look at and try and do something with, which is definitely a lot better than what we had earlier when I tried to cat a picture. Now let's try a heavy one. Let's do od-A, which is going to format the addressing, and we'll do the addressing in hexadecimal, and let's see what that looks like on that file. So we still have octal data here. So we still have octal data here, but now the address lines are in hexadecimal instead of octal. Being a bit of a networking person, I personally prefer reading hexadecimal versus octal if I have to make a choice between the two. Now let's take it a step further. Let's see if we can change these into hex values. So to do that, we're going to go and add a new option and argument. So we'll do -t space x space, and now the data lines are going to be hexadecimal as well. Now, let's talk about playing with that Z formatting option. So if we go and add a Z to the X option for the data format, we get literal character representation. So now it's trying to show me using Unicode characters that work in the command line what that data string looks like. Again, a lot more legible, but not something we could easily read or work with. In fairness though, I'm just using a picture file for the sake of showing you something here. This is more useful for developers and senior system administrators who might be trying to find non-standard characters or particular codes in output data that might be quite lengthy and annoying to try and read. That was the od command. It's one of those commands where right now you probably don't think it's going to be quite useful to you, but just keep it in the back of your mind. And one day you're going to come across a situation where you're going to be, oh, this is the perfect moment to use that command. So just always remember it, keep it in the back there, ready to rock and roll if you ever need it. Otherwise though, thanks for watching this. Play around with it a bit if you want to, and I'll catch you in the next fundamental file management command.